Hello. This video is going to go through Chapter 10. There'll be a couple of videos that go through parts of Chapter 10. And really the Chapter 10 is just what is macro. So it's just kind of an introduction to macroeconomics. And it's just going to go through kind of some of the big topics of macroeconomics. And not get into a lot of the details, but really just go through what are the three major topics in macro. So we'll talk about those a little bit. First thing that we're going to do is take a look at the difference between what is microeconomics, which is kind of your regular supply and demand that most people are introduced to. Whereas macroeconomics, much of the time you talk about aggregate supply and aggregate demand. So what do those two terms, aggregate, mean, and how are they different than just regular supply and demand? And so looking at kind of these two columns, looking at these two topics of micro versus macro, with these, the idea of income and output, employment and prices, what's the difference between these two things? And you'll see a common trend as you look at these. So for income, it's the idea of something like revenue for a firm, for an individual firm, or it's profit for that firm, or it's the income of one person, how much money, how much profit that person makes. Whereas when we talk in macro terms, income is of a national economy. A lot of times you'll talk about the national income and what that is, and you'll get this big total number and sometimes millions, trillions of dollars. Output, much of the time you talk about output for an individual firm, how much to produce. And a lot of times you talk about this idea of the profit max amount to produce for an individual firm. Whereas as in macroeconomics, you look at the output of an entire economy. And so that's all businesses put together and how much total output there is. For employment, you might look at the job status of an individual or the hiring of a firm. Again, in macroeconomics, you look at the national population, the number of people, so the total employed or unemployed. And then prices, you look at the prices of a single good. And that gets back to kind of the supply and demand. If you do just a really basic graph of price and quantity, and you have the supply and the demand for a good, this equilibrium is the price of a single good. Whereas in macro, you look at what's called price level. And price level is the combined prices of all goods in an entire economy. So it's combined prices. And so this isn't meant to be complex or anything. It's very easy, but it's the idea that micro really looks at the individual and firm level, and macro looks at the aggregate or total, or what we'll say kind of the national level. And that's really one of the major differences between micro and macroeconomics. And you look at some of the similar things. Obviously, micro much of the time feeds into some macro ideas, but one is on kind of the individual and firm level, and the other one is on a national level. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down macroeconomics into three key topics. And if you look at the key topics really quickly here, it's employment, it is output, and it is inflation. And those are going to be the three key topics in macroeconomics, no matter what level of macroeconomics you're talking about. So introductory level or an advanced level, those are the three key topics of macroeconomics. And so it can get very complex. But this chapter is just really introducing you to those sorts of topics. And then subsequent chapters will broaden our idea of what those are and how to calculate different things for those topics. So first we'll just introduce the ideas behind those topics, and then we'll go into some of the details. So the goal of this video is just to kind of do a brief overview of one or two. We'll see maybe in a different video we'll go over the last one or two of them. So first, it's important to understand that the federal government takes a role in economic stability. Because macroeconomics deals with the country, really since the Great Depression, presidents have attempted to step in, or Congress has attempted to step in to create economic stability. And economic stability has to do with our three topics: employment, growth, and then inflation or prices. And so they work through policies to try and promote this idea of stability. So through government policy, and a lot of times what we'll call fiscal policy, they attempt to make sure that we have full employment, or that there are certain policies in place when people aren't employed, or that the economy is growing over time, or prices are stable and banks are working soundly. So the government really has deemed it since the Great Depression a necessity for it to step in, especially in times of economic recession or depression, to try and help out and create stability. And they've passed different acts and laws in order to try and do that. And so the three things that they're constantly focusing on are employment, growth, and prices. And so employment is simply people that want jobs that are able to get jobs. So if you look at some of the data first, and so this is a graphic that actually comes from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, but just a simple Google search usually shows this chart that you can actually change quite a bit by different parameters, which is kind of cool. So, but this one says the unemployment rate. So this is unemployment rate. This is percent unemployment in the United States: 2%, 4%, 6%, 8%, 10, and 12%. And so you can kind of see this is from 1950 to basically 2020. And this is a concerning thing right there, if you can see that. But that's in our current kind of crisis. But anyways, what this is showing is that unemployment has gone up and down, obviously significantly over time. There's been times in the 1970s into the 1980s where unemployment was up and down, but it was kind of on the rise. In the 80s to the early 2000s, it was on the decline. And then it was kind of on the rise in the early 2000s. And then there was this big spike in about 2008, 2009. And really since about 2010, we've seen falling unemployment. Okay? So what unemployment is when people that want jobs can't get it. Right? So that's unemployment. When people want jobs, but they can't get jobs, you're considered unemployed. So one of the key factors to consider right there is that you actually want a job. This means that you are looking for a job. And so if you are looking for a job but you can't find a job, you're considered unemployed. If you're looking for a job and have a job, obviously you're considered employed. Looking and have. And this you can see employment over time. So this is just the quantity of people employed over time. And this one goes to 2020 as well. So from 1950 to 2020, you can see the amount of people employed. This isn't a rate, but this is total employed. And then there's this dip here, and we can see that that dip correlates with that spike right there, and then we've been employing more people over time. So this is employed, looking and have a job; unemployed, looking for a job and can't get a job. If you put these two together, this gives us what's called the labor force. Okay, so labor force is the total amount of people that are either looking for a job and have a job or looking for a job and don't have a job. And if you compare these things, you're going to get what's called the unemployment rate. This is going to be the percent of people that can't get a job that want a job. All right, percent of people that can't get a job that want a job. And so just a simple example, if there are, let's say, 100 people that are employed, and there are, let's say, 25 people that are unemployed, what's our unemployment rate? Well, our total amount of people is 125. So that's what's called the labor force. So there's 125 people total, and of those 125 people, 25 of them can't get a job. So there's 125 people that are either looking for work and have a job or looking for work and can't find one. So 25 out of 125, 25 out of 125 are unemployed. And so that would equate to something like 1/5 or 20% unemployment. Okay. There are three key types of unemployment, and this will be our last topic for this video. So three key types of unemployment for this group of people right here, the 25. Why can't they get a job? So there's three kind of key reasons why they can't get a job. So the first key reason why they can't get a job is called structural. And that has to do, and I'm going to make a separate video that talks about each one of these in particular. So I'm just going to quickly go through them right now. So this one has to do with skills. So let's say some of these, let's say 10 of these people, they just don't have the right skills. And so there are jobs open to them, but they don't have the right skills to match those jobs. So let's say they're highly skilled in aerospace engineer, but NASA is cut back. And so they have skills, there are jobs available, but they just don't have the right skills. Okay? So there's a certain group of people where there's a job opening, but they can't take it because they don't have the skills. So structural has to do with skills. The next one is frictional. Okay? So frictional has to do with moving, whoops, I apologize for miswriting that. Frictional has to do with moving or looking for work. Okay, so imagine that let's say there's 10 of these people, and 10 of these people are just looking for a better job, or they've just graduated from college and they don't know which job they want to take, or there's a variety of reasons that might cause it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they're moving from one job to another. They quit their job because they want a better, higher paying job. So they're looking for a different job. They're moving between jobs. They're not, they have the skills. They're going to take a job eventually, but they're just looking for jobs. They're job shopping. And in the job shopping process, they're unemployed. Okay, and then the last one is the one that we'll call the bad one, the one that you want to try to avoid. This is the one that economists attempt to try and stop or solve or fix, and it's called cyclical. And cyclical unemployment has to do with the cycle of the economy. Whoops. Okay? It has to do with the up and down of the economy. And so this is just there's not enough jobs. So there might be, 5 of these people that are unemployed, but there's just 0 jobs available to them. They want a job. They're looking for a job. They might have the skills. They're not just looking to go between jobs, but maybe they've been fired because the economy needs less people, needs less workers. There's just not enough jobs available for the people that are looking for jobs.